What's up, Pascal? This is Panther Nation. I'm Connor Hibbett,
And I'm Gage Laswell.
and I will be interviewing Coach Doss today. Coach Doss, you've been coaching 37 total years, and this is your second year at Pascal. How do you like this school compared to the others?
I really like the difference between going from 5A to 6A. The competition obviously is the best in the state. We have a great district and very competitive region, and I'm looking to go ahead and be able to be competitive also as we go forward in cross country.
And this is your second year here. This is my third year here, but for different reasons. And I definitely love Pascal. The coaches are awesome. The students are awesome. Everybody here is awesome. The teachers are amazing. They really know how to communicate with the students. But all right, thanks for being on the show today, Coach. Most people like football and baseball, basketball, but what is it about cross country that you really like?
Well, cross country, first of all, is the fall sport for distance runners. And the kids have to go ahead and train throughout the summer in order to be competitive in the fall. And they understand that there's a certain amount of miles or minutes they have to be running daily and then weekly in order to go and compete against the best in our region.
And most kids have to stay in shape no matter what sport they are in. But, cross country is one of those sports where it's different from other sports. How is it really different from other sports?
Well, it is a team sport, and you're only as good as your seventh runner on your team. We race 3.1 miles, and we try to go ahead and have as many kids come together and finish together within a minute and a half. And usually that provides a successful type of outcome. So it's not easy because kids over 3.1 miles can go ahead and struggle, and have to go ahead and get them to go ahead and run together and understand pace particularly.
And it's very difficult to push yourself. Do you believe cross country is really up there in sports they have to push himself in?
Yeah, discipline-wise, yes. They have to go ahead and buy into the actual workout program and buy into the commitment, and mentally and physically it takes a toll on them. We run 7 meets in about 8 weeks or so, and not even the colleges do that. Most college cross-country teams run 4 cross-country meets maximum during the year. So it's tough to get up every week, and it's tough to improve, but hopefully by the end of the 7th week they're ready to go ahead and compete against everybody in district.
And when most people hear about cross country, they think, it's just long distance running. But you really have to push yourself.
You do, and there's a strategy, and that's where the kids all have to believe in each other. And so a lot of people don't understand it's quite different from track, and there's more of a team aspect connected to it.
Exactly. I mean, there are things in the road that may stop you. There's things in life that may want to stop you, but you got to push through it.
Correct.
And and speaking of runners, what do you like about this group of runners this year compared to last year's?
On the girls and guys side, we have a combination of we have young runners that are very talented, and then we have experienced runners that have come back and run a couple years. On the girls side, we have a couple girls, Rayleigh Jimenez, and also Sam. Sam is also one of the girls that is extremely talented, and both of them push the rest of the girls. On the guys' side, we have 2 young sophomores that are going to be 2 of the best in our district. So I think as the season goes on, you're going to go ahead and see the combination of the 2, the experience and the young talent, come together and be able to compete at the end.
And what most coaches really, they don't talk about, and most people, but it's really important to have that team captain to really help the other team, or to help their team up and step up to the next level.
Exactly, and I, at first, coming here last year, I didn't know many of the kids, and I kind of let the kids kind of develop their own type of leadership skills throughout the year. So there was not a so-called designated captain, but usually those captains come out during the middle of the season, and they take leadership roles, and they provide what you need towards the end of the season.
Well, I love cross country, and I know you do, but what sport's really your favorite sport, Coach?
I got into running after I coached basketball and I coached baseball for quite a long time. different schools throughout the district and that type of thing. But then I started gravitating towards running, and I ran a couple marathons and got into it with a couple friends of mine, and then started to go and get really interested in cross country. But my first love was coaching basketball. I really enjoyed coaching basketball, and I coached. Actually, I did my student teaching here under Coach Dansby, who was the basketball coach here, and became then the basketball coach at Nolan, then at Northside, and then at Arlington Heights. So there's always an interest to see what's going on in the gym. So, but I pretty much support and love every sport in high school. So
I'm the same. I love every sport. There are some sports that I love more than others, but I still love every sport because each sport has its own, almost like language. You have to understand the language of that sport, and there are certain things you have to push yourself more in certain sports, certain aspects of every sport that are different from other sports. But overall, Coach, what do you think is the biggest difference from cross country to other sports?
Well, the unselfishness of the kids. The kids have, understand that it's not a big-time visibility sport. Cross country is not the biggest visible sport on campus. And I guess they understand that. They know that. But, to go ahead and to commit towards running, 30 to 40 miles a week, it's something that really tells you a little bit about their character and their unselfishness and their commitment to the team.
And it's really nice to have athletes who don't run their mouths but really run their legs.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Well, Coach, thanks for being on the show today.
I enjoyed being here. Enjoyed the first interview. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. We'll see you maybe later this year.
Will do.
And now we're moving on to Pascal football. We have a bye week this week. So, bye. We'll see you next week against Mansfield. So, maybe this game might be a little closer.
Yeah, we'll just say it's going to be close.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't have anything against Pascal football. It's just that y'all haven't looked too good. So
LSU football still looks worse.
Hey, whatever makes them better, that's LSU.
Yeah. Well, Pascal football, they're playing against Mansfield. Mansfield beat Mansfield Summit, who we lost to, but they beat Mansfield Summit 26-6. So we'll see what happens in this game. But let's still support the football team. The season's not over till it's over. It's not over till that final clock hits 0. So we'll see what happens. But go Panthers. Volleyball, they started off 0-2 in district. They have won their last 2. And Riley Parker and Katie Nance have both been nominated as DFW Players of the Week each of the last 2 weeks by the Star Telegram. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, they're really good players. They've always been good from their freshman year on. So they're a really big help to this squad right now.
And the overall record is 20-10. And they've won their last 2 games in district.
Yeah, our district is probably one of the toughest in
the state.
Toughest in the state.
And our
so
Metroplex,
that's really good.
The Metroplex is impossible. I can barely breathe with all the pollution. I'm sure they can barely breathe with all the volleyball players looking to play, and they have to make the team, and the players who make the team are really good.
Yeah.
So moving on to college football.
That's the thing we all like the most.
Yeah, college football is pretty awesome, but I love all of Pascal sports. Combining Pascal sports with college football, Pascal sports is much better. But then college football alone is the best sport alone.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure about that.
Okay.
College football, the games this week, the pick'em games this week. You'll have to choose between Tech and Houston, UCLA and Stanford, Mississippi State and Georgia.
All right.
I don't want to talk about Mississippi
right.
State. Aggies versus Arkansas.
Yeah, he has a reason why.
Yeah, I do have my reasons why. Florida versus Kentucky.
They won against LSU, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Duke versus North Carolina. Notre Dame versus Michigan State. TCU versus Oklahoma State.
That's going to be a good game.
I will talk about that game last. Penn State versus Iowa.
Wow.
Well, I think we're going to need to talk about that. I think that game's going to be close.
It will. They're 2 really good teams.
That's for sure. And then Washington versus Colorado. So if you're wanting my picks, if you listened to my show last week, I went 8-2 overall. My 2 losses were because South Carolina's player got injured against Kentucky. I'm not going to get into that. I was pissed. And then we had Ole Miss versus Cal, and I picked Ole Miss because they're SEC, but I wasn't smart there. But Cal definitely won, that's for sure. But this week, my picks, I'm going to go with Texas Tech over Houston, 38-35. Gage, I want to hear your pick with this, and I want to hear your score.
Well, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, with Herman leaving Houston, they really took a dramatic fall in their football program. So I'm going to have to go with Tech winning this. Like I said, I'm going with that same score.
38-35? Okay, my score is Tech 38, Houston 35, so is Gage's. Now, what is your opinion on UCLA versus Stanford?
Well, that's going to be a good game too. I'm thinking Stanford might win this one. I mean, Stanford's probably one of the best in the Pac-12 other than USC in Washington. So I'm going to have to go with Stanford winning 28-14. It's going to be I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
We'll see. I'm picking the upsets here. Tech over Houston and UCLA versus Stanford, so wish me luck. And then Mississippi State versus Georgia. Now, Mississippi State didn't look that good this past week, but they won. So what do you think's going to happen with them in Georgia?
I mean,
I said they didn't look that good. They look great, everybody. LSU looked bad.
Excuse me for that. Let's see. I'm going to have to go with Georgia on this one.
Yeah, they are at home. I'm going to go with them too. But what do you think the score is going to be?
Score's going to be?
I got 21-17.
Yeah, same, basically, yeah.
Yeah, Gage and I had the same opinions mostly so far.
Yeah.
And then Texas A&M versus Arkansas. These are 2 teams that were a little overrated to start the year. So what do you think is going to be the case in this game?
Wait, what's it again? I forgot. I spaced out.
Yeah, you spaced out. You were thinking about how bad they were starting the years, and then now you're just coming to the realization, oh, we're talking about this game? Holy smokes.
Oh, no, I'm just tired.
You're just tired? Are you tired of TCU losing Oklahoma State?
All right, so let's not talk about that right now. Just
Shh. But that's what Mason Rudolph will be doing after he wins the Heisman. Okay. Aggies versus Arkansas.
Oh, okay. I say the Aggies will win this one. I mean, they're an okay team in the SEC. They're not the best team.
Definitely not.
Okay,
Alabama. I was gonna say Alabama after that.
I would say LSU is a good team. So
yeah.
Let's keep it on point. I say the Aggies going to win this one, 38-24.
So I picked Arkansas to win 35-21, and you're saying Aggies 38, Arkansas 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think one of these teams will win by 2 touchdowns, though. This is the battle, I think, of the 2 right now, the 2 worst teams in the SEC West. Florida versus Kentucky. I think Kentucky's a team on the rise. I do.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But I still think Florida will win this game, even though it's at Kentucky. Kentucky's, I think they've lost a lot of the last games to Florida. They've had a really big losing streak, and I don't think it's going to end this week. So I picked Florida to win 24-14.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's going to win, no doubt. I mean, they're probably one of the best teams in the SEC. What are they in?
No
West?
doubt.
East. Yeah. Sorry, the SEC is broken up into
2 divisions.
Yeah, where they are and location. Yeah, I say Florida's going to win this one. I think they're going to win this one. I don't know, 32-21.
Okay. Duke versus North Carolina. Now, Duke's another team on the rise in the ACC. North Carolina's a team that's going down after they lost all those players from last year's team. Who do you have winning this game? It's in North Carolina, and this is a rivalry. So.
Oh yeah, Duke and North Carolina go way back. I mean,
especially basketball.
Their hate for each other in basketball are insane. Probably one of the
definitely
most fun rivalries to watch in college basketball. But the season hasn't started yet. We're just talking about college football. Connor, don't get me off track, okay?
Okay.
All right. I say North Carolina's going to win this one.
Okay.
I mean, they're let's just say they had more success in college football. So I'm going to have to go go with the win. I'm gonna have to say 28-21 in this one. North Carolina winning.
Okay. I do think it's going to be close for most of the game. I think Duke pulls away at the end, kind of like what happened with Duke and Baylor this past week. I think Duke will beat North Carolina 38-24. So we've been trading our picks here lately, but this week has really got some tough games. So we'll continue. Notre Dame versus Michigan State.
Oof. Yeah, these two teams are gonna battle each other. I take that back. It's gonna be a good game. I can tell you that. They're two really good teams, even though Notre Dame's not technically in the Big Ten, even though they play most of the teams in the Big Ten.
I think you will see a battle on the field. I think you have a Fighting Irish and a Spartan who like to battle in real life, so they might try to battle on the football field.
Yeah. I have to go with you on this one. Notre Dame's probably gonna win.
Do you agree with 28-21?
I wouldn't say that. I say 21-14.
21-14? Okay. I can see that too, actually. Michigan State's defense looks pretty good this year. I'll skip over this one. I'll say that one for last.
You better.
Penn State versus Iowa. If you remember last time, Iowa was on ABC at night at home. They beat Michigan last year 14-13 on a last-second field goal. They're playing Penn State, who's probably a better team. Penn State this year compared to Michigan last year. But who do you think's going to win this game?
I'm gonna have to go with Penn State on this one. Penn State.
You think it could be close?
I haven't seen Iowa play, but I think Penn State's going to be the better team in this one.
I totally agree. Iowa this year has not looked that impressive. They had to come back against North Texas to win that game by a couple of touchdowns, but I believe they were losing at halftime, and they were losing pretty much the whole game against Iowa State. So I think Penn State will pull away with this at the end. I think they will dominate the whole game except for the scoreboard. I think Penn State wins 34-27.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
Agreed. All right. And then this is probably the easiest pick of the day, Washington versus Colorado. That looks like the easiest pick, but unfortunately it's not the easiest pick.
But you said it was the easiest pick.
I said it was the easiest pick if you looked at it. If you look at it, if you look at it, it looks like the easiest pick. But then you look into the stats and the behind the scenes, Colorado's a 3-0 team just like Washington, and they've looked impressive in their games just like Washington has. But I think Washington will win. But if you remember, they beat them in the Pac-12 championship last game. Washington beat Colorado. They kind of killed them. Mm-hmm. So I think Colorado's playing at home. So I think they're going to want a little bit of revenge off of last year's bad loss.
Yeah.
But I think they'll keep it close the whole game. But I think they'll have the fight. But I think Washington's the better team. I think Washington comes on top 27-20.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you see it with their recent success last year. They were number 4 in the AP poll last year.
Yep.
I mean, just a phenomenal season last year. And I say they would come back this year with not
a great year, but a really good year,
mm-hmm.
if you want to look at it like that. So you're probably looking at, 10-2, 11-1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
I can totally see that. I think this Washington team will have a great record, but I don't think their team is great. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the Pac-12. They have a few good teams, but not enough.
USC is dominating.
Yep, USC. But USC and Washington, and I think UCLA can compete with anybody with their quarterback, Josh Rosen.
All right, so let's look to the future here, in all the championships. Who do you think will make it in your opinion?
In each conference?
Well, except the Big 12, because they remember what happened to their championship game.
Well, they actually have one this coming year.
Oh,
this
do
year.
they? Really?
Yeah, they do.
Really?
And I think in the Big 12, I'm going to hold off, but I think Oklahoma State will be in there. I do think that for sure. But I'm going to hold off for the second-place team. It's probably either going to be OU or TCU.
Yeah.
But Texas actually is making a strong comeback, and they have 2 losses, but neither of those losses are in the Big 12. So you're probably still looking at Texas as a sleeper team. But
I mean, coming off of a
great
loss,
performance.
Yeah, a great defense, great defensive performance.
I love that.
They held USC to 0 points in the first half, which was
until that Hail Mary.
That surprised me because Texas's defense or Texas in general didn't look all that great.
No,
and
we watched them against Maryland.
Yeah, that was
almost as bad as the Michigan-Florida game.
Yeah, I have a friend who goes to Texas that was at that game.
And so your last pick, will be TCU versus Oklahoma State. It's at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has beaten TCU the last 2 years, and they've beaten them in ugly fashion. They definitely had their number. They stopped Trevon Boykin and the other guy they had, that wide receiver. I can't remember his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. Thank you.
Josh Doxson.
And so they shut those guys down, but they beat them. But I think this TCU team will have a lot of fight this year. They do have a lot of fight. I think they're going to give Oklahoma State a great game, but I think Oklahoma State does pull away with this. It's at home. It's at Oklahoma State. Mm-hmm. And Oklahoma State, I do believe, was underrated to start the year. I think this team is a top 7 team. I think Oklahoma State wins this game 31-24.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you said, Oklahoma State is probably one of the most underrated was the most underrated team going into this year's
that and South Florida.
Oh yeah, South Florida is doing really well with Charlie Strong.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And they are strong.
Being recently fired from Texas, now making his mark
debut
on USC.
Or USF, yeah.
USF, I don't know, there's a lot of abbreviations for colleges that are confusing. Like USC, UCF, USF.
USA could not compete with Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago.
Oh, speaking of USA, do you want to talk about some international soccer? They're currently third in the Copa America. They're actually doing really well. I don't think they'll make the World Cup this year, but I don't know. So yeah.
And tomorrow night, we're still on college football. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow night, we got off topic there.
I just had to after we.
I did that a couple of weeks ago.
After we turned to USA, I just instantly thought of USA soccer, men's soccer.
Yeah, I get that.
Oh, speaking of
soccer,
the women, our USA women's team is doing actually amazing this year that they did in the past.
Well, I definitely like the way they look when they play. That's for sure. My favorite player is Alex Morgan. So we'll get into that later. Okay, so tomorrow night, if you want to watch some college football on a Thursday night, get after it with Temple at South Florida. I think this game will contain some more fireworks like last week's game with South Florida did against Illinois. Temple at South Florida, I think you're looking at a 45-24 game for South Florida. South Florida will come away with the win, guaranteed. This will be no contest whatsoever. I think Temple will get a couple of touchdowns on the board. It might be late, it might be early, but they will get them at some point in the game. So you're looking at a 45-24 game. And then some other games that are worth mentioning this weekend, NC State at Florida State. Florida State's ranked, I believe, number 11 right now. And so Florida State will win this game. I think this will be a physical game up front. I think NC State's defensive line is very good. I think Florida State's defense overall is very good. I think Florida State comes away with the win 23-14. And then I'm talking about the 2:30 effect on Saturday. The 2:30 effect, we have Alabama at Vanderbilt, and watch out, USC at Cal. This game could be an upset. I see Cal sticking with them the whole game. USC's coming off a tough game against Texas. It's at Cal. And yes, people, I think Cal is a legit contender in the Pac-12 this year. I think they're very much underrated. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they'll be much better than they were last year. You're probably looking at a 35-28 game. That's what I'm going to say with USC and Cal. And then Alabama at Vanderbilt. You're looking at a very slow game, but Alabama kind of dominates the physicality with the physicality, and they just dominate over the course of the game. They win 24-10. Alabama plays at their pace. Vanderbilt cannot control the pace of the game, so Alabama comes away with the win.
Yeah. Well, speaking about Alabama, they're doing basically the same as what they did last year. Always number one, and will be number one for a long time.
Yeah, they will be as long as they have that coach of theirs, Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And then another game that I'm going to predict a very good upset here. Michigan at Purdue. I got Purdue winning this game 24-21.
I mean, that's a surprise to me. I mean, Michigan coming off a really good season last year.
It was a very good season.
Yeah. It really was.
I thought they had the best defensive player in the country with Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
Who's
Wait,
now,
what? What round did he go into?
I don't recall. I think it was the 7th or the 8th round.
Oh, really? That's surprising.
Or maybe it was the 4th or the 5th. I don't remember. I just know it wasn't in the first couple rounds. Because I remember people talking about him, about how he's not an NFL type player. He doesn't challenge the offensive line. He just uses his speed and gets around the edge. But we'll see what he does throughout his career in the NFL. But he's a good player. But I predict Purdue to beat Michigan. It's at Purdue. It's one of their tougher games of the season for Purdue. It's at home. If you remember the first game of the season, they almost beat Louisville at home. So I think this Michigan team is a little bit overrated this year. Same as Ohio State. I think they're a little bit overrated. I think the Big Ten overall is overrated, except for Penn State. I mean, look at the 3 of the 4 best ranked teams.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. The SEC is overrated too.
You think they're overrated?
I think they're overrated.
Okay.
With actually 3 good contenders: Florida, LSU, and Alabama.
I think Georgia. You need to add Georgia to that list.
Make that 4.
I think Mississippi State you need to add to that list too.
Make that 5.
Okay. Now I think Auburn is overrated. Auburn's overrated.
Basically, almost every team in the SEC is overrated.
Oh, okay.
Except Missouri.
But they already know that they're bad.
yeah, they're just.
Goodbye.
Okay, so
we're waving goodbye to you guys.
So here's the rest of the SEC, and then here's Missouri.
And then there's Missouri, and then Tennessee's trying to figure out where they want to be.
Tennessee's actually coming back.
They're coming back slowly but surely, and then they lost Dobbs, so they're struggling a little bit there.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hit the NFL for a little while in the Major League Baseball.
Oh, I don't want to talk about the Cowboys and Broncos game. They did not.
I told you they had a good defense, Denver. I told you that.
They did. Oh yeah. Yeah. They. Von Miller.
Hey, fun fact. Oh, I know he's good. Fun fact: Prescott for the most times in his career in this game. Actually.
Where'd you hear Von Miller from? The Old Spice commercials.
Oh, hey, yes.
Stop it.
50 times. Prescott threw 50 times in this game, the most in his passing attempts in his career at Dallas.
Yeah. I mean,
for 238 yards. He completed 30 of the passes. A third of his completions were to Jason Witten. What's new?
Oh, speaking of Jason Witten, he what is he? I heard something.
He's Witting him up.
No. He I think he got the franchise record for the most catches, I think, or the most receptions.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I remember seeing that. And then Dallas had a terrible game on the ground, which is not like them.
Yeah.
Their offensive line's very good, but Denver's really played in the box. They put like 7 to 8 guys in the box, and that certainly worked. Dallas had 30 yards rushing in the game.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of which, they had a new quarterback. Broncos did. What was his name? I forgot what his name was. Number 13. Starting quarterback. It's like.
Does his last name start with an O?
No.
Okay, I'm thinking of another guy. Well, we'll move on to I'll give you all the scores of the NFL this past week. Denver 42, Dallas 17. Houston 13, Cincinnati 9. Arizona 16, Indianapolis 13. That game went into overtime. Arizona came on top, 16-13. Pittsburgh 26. Yeah, my Steelers. Minnesota 9. Miami 19. This time they did not make me cry. The Dolphins did not make me cry. That's a famous lyric in a song, by the way.
Oh, jeez.
Hootie and the Blowfish, 1994. Miami 19. Los Angeles Chargers 17. I got to get used to saying Los Angeles Chargers. When did that charge into me? Oakland 45, New York Jets 20.
Gosh.
Yes, thank you.
Quit with your puns.
That was punny. Seattle 12, San Francisco 9. This game was actually close. San Francisco was winning the game 9-6, and Seattle scored at the very end. Tennessee 37, Jacksonville 16, New England 36. Yeah, they actually won this time at New Orleans. New England 36, New Orleans 20. Carolina 3, Buffalo 3, or Carolina 9, Buffalo 3. Does someone want to play a little bit of offense there?
Yeah. All right, bye, guys.
Gage is leaving. He is gone. He has a choir lesson tonight, so it's just me now. Gage is just gone. He said bye. Bye. Hello. I'm back. Atlanta 34, Green Bay 23, Detroit 24, New York 10. Yeah, the Giants finally scored a touchdown, guys. Cleveland 10, Baltimore 24, Tampa Bay 29, Chicago 7, and Washington 27, Los Angeles Rams 20. And then Philadelphia 20, Kansas City 27. And so this coming week, the Cowboys are at Arizona. They're playing on Monday night. So good luck to the Cowboys. I know you guys are probably rooting for them. But someone that you've really got to hope that they finish their season strong and maybe get the fifth and final wild card spot. Texas Rangers, 12 games remaining in the 2017 season, guys. So come on, cheer them on. Rangers 3.5 games back from the fifth and final wild card spot. If they can certainly make the wild card spot and make the playoffs, that'd be great. I mean, I just love to see their season end on a great note. Whether it's them fighting for that last spot and they just coming up short, or actually making that final spot and maybe coming up short again. But at least if they can make the playoffs, that would be great. I mean, I really want to see them. What if my teams do well? Because right now my teams aren't doing too well. So except for Cleveland Indians, but that's another story. And they're still looking great. I'm still feeling great. The show's still looking great, even without Gage here. He just left. But that will be it for today and this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope you enjoyed my interview with Coach Doss. For now, I'm Connor Hibbett, and that was Gage Laswell, who just left. And this is Panther Nation, and we will see you next Wednesday.